Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating piece of history that you might not know about: Rochester's connection to the first wireless telephone. Yes, you heard that right. Rochester, New York, played a key role in shaping the future of communication. Let's take a deep dive into how one man's innovation, along with the city's influence, helped create the wireless technologies we now take for granted every day. Before we dive into today's story, make sure to subscribe to Mystic America for more amazing journeys through hidden history and forgotten places. Let's get started. The man behind the invention, Reginald Aubrey Fessenden. Our story starts with Reginald A. Fessenden, a brilliant inventor and electrical engineer from Canada, who is often credited with the invention of the first wireless telephone and the first successful wireless voice transmission. But did you know that his groundbreaking work is closely tied to Rochester, New York? Fessenden wasn't just a man ahead of his time. He was the first person to successfully transmit a human voice over radio waves in 1900. This was a massive step forward in wireless communication, years before the first commercial radio broadcasts began. Fessenden's experiment took place in 1906. It wasn't a simple test. It was the first live audio broadcast in history, which included not just speech, but also music. This transmission was picked up by ships out at sea, marking a major milestone in communication history. However, the connection to Rochester comes in the form of the broader legacy Fessenden's work created in telecommunications. Fessenden's impact and Rochester's telecommunications history. Now, you may be wondering, how does Rochester fit into this story? Well, Rochester has a rich history of technological innovation, and it was home to companies that would eventually make use of Fessenden's wireless technology. By the mid-1900s, companies like Kodak, Xerox, and Bausch and Lomb became powerhouses in optical technology, telecommunications, and electronics. But before these companies came to dominate their respective industries, it was early telecommunications advances, like Fessenden's wireless voice transmission, that laid the groundwork for many of these future innovations. Rochester wasn't just about photography and imaging. The optical sciences in Rochester were deeply linked to the development of communication technologies. For instance, Rochester's expertise in optics and signal transmission helped build the foundation for radio communications and telephone networks. Fessenden's wireless telephone and its impact. In 1906, Fessenden transmitted the first wireless voice broadcast from his station on the North Shore of Massachusetts. This experiment was revolutionary. It allowed for the first public demonstration of radio as a means of communication. And though Fessenden's wireless phone wasn't immediately commercialized, his work paved the way for future technologies. At the time, traditional telephone lines could carry voice, but Fessenden's wireless approach broke the limits of landline-based communication. His technology became a precursor to modern radio broadcasting, and eventually to the mobile phones and wireless internet that we use today. Rochester's telecommunication legacy. So, what does all of this have to do with Rochester? Well, Rochester became a major hub for telecommunications and electronics. Companies in Rochester, particularly Kodak and Xerox, started exploring how new radio technology could complement their existing products. Fessenden's early innovations in wireless communication laid the foundation for the communication systems that would later emerge. Fast forward to the mid-1900s, and companies in Rochester were helping develop the television, radio, and telecommunications industries further. Companies like Xerox would go on to innovate not just in the field of printing, but also in data processing and communications. Rochester, despite being relatively small, contributed to a technological revolution that influenced not just the U.S., but the entire world. The city was home to cutting-edge research, developing technologies that were crucial for the advancement of wireless communication. The legacy of wireless communication in Rochester. Today, Rochester may not be the center of the wireless revolution like Silicon Valley, but its role in the early days of telecommunications cannot be overlooked. The legacy of Fessenden's wireless telephone continues to influence modern communications, and much of that influence can be traced back to the innovations developed in places like Rochester. Rochester also remains a city where technology and innovation continue to thrive, especially in areas like biotechnology, advanced manufacturing, and telecommunications. And the city's long history of radio and telecommunications research remains a proud chapter of its legacy. If you enjoyed learning about this hidden gem of history, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fascinating stories. Also, let us know in the comments what you think about Fessenden's impact on modern-day communication. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.